Hey everybody and welcome to Chairman of the Board. Today I'm talking about The Godfather, Corleone's Empire. Now this is a board game for 2 to 5 players, takes about an hour and a half to play. It was published by Corleone Limited, who've made a lot of good games in the past, such as Blood Rage and Rising Sun, and this was actually by the same designer who made those games, Eric Lang. Now he's a designer who's got a lot of fans and people do really follow him quite religiously and buy anything he puts out. Those games have had huge success, and maybe this one hasn't quite hit those heights, but I have heard a lot of good things about it. Obviously it's based on the Godfather films. I'm familiar with them, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan or anything like that. And you know, it received a decent amount of praise, but as I said, didn't quite hit the heights of Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and some of his other games. But I got a chance to play this one this week at my local gaming club, and here are my thoughts. So the game takes place over a map of New York, which is divided up into all these different turfs, and a turn is going to consist of you placing one of your family or your mafia family onto the board. And you've got 2 different types of family members. You've got your thugs, who can get placed on the front of these businesses, or you've got your family members, which are placed on kind of they're on the divides between the different turfs and can take from the back of multiple businesses at the same time, depending on where they're deployed. So as I said, those different turfs have different businesses on them, and those businesses kind of determine the rewards that you can get by deploying your different family members. So you've got the ones that come from the front of the business, which can get you kind of guns or alcohol or narcotics, or let you stash money, or just give you money straight out, or let you take the first player marker and stuff like that. And you've also got the ones from the back of the business, which is where the family members take from, which again, you get the same kind of things. The way the workers are deployed is important because you are fighting over area control of those different turfs as well. So when you have the majority of a region, you place one of your little tokens down, and then when anybody else places one of their thugs on the front of one of those shops, then you also get the reward that they get as well. So you've got a good amount of importance of getting control of those regions, especially the more lucrative regions, because when people go there, you're going to get a lot more kind of return as the game goes on, and you can develop your resources a lot quicker than other players can. The reason you're trying to collect those guns and those alcohol and the blood money and the narcotics is because you are trying to complete these different jobs. And there are 3 public jobs that you can complete, which everybody can kind of do anytime, or you've got your own hand of cards as well, which you can complete jobs from as well. And those jobs are not only important because they give you powerful bonuses, such as killing other players and throwing them in the river. You can completely clear other regions, or you can do lots of different things, or such as picking workers up and putting them back down. But also they're important because you get money as well in return. So again, the objective of the game is to have the most money at the end of the game. So money is absolutely paramount in this one. I love the way that it has this kind of opaque scoring mechanism because, as I said, money is the objective, but you have to store that money in your own private briefcase, which are these lovely produced tins. And there are only a few spots that let you do that. And storing money is so important because at the end of each round, you can only carry a certain amount of cards through to the next round. And that limit of cards is extremely tight. And for example, in the first couple of rounds, it's only 5 cards, then it's 6 cards, and then it's only 2 cards you can take through to the final scoring. And if you don't get to stash your money, or use your cards and stuff, you're going to pretty much have wasted quite a few of your turns in that round. So yeah, the real rush to get to those spots is really important. And this game really does have that worker placement style feel to it, which is quite strange for an area control game, because all those different spots are very lucrative. And I think that is so paramount with a worker placement game, or in most games, you need to have that tension of being able to get somewhere first, because if the game's too loosey-goosey, then you're just not going to have that tension and not going to, really enjoy when things go your own way. And I do really like that, and it's quite thematic as well, because the kind of idea behind it is that if you don't, any money that or any surplus cards are kind of paid to the Godfather as a kind of tribute, which is quite cool. I love the kind of variability of the game as well, because you've got these different all the different businesses that you deploy on the different regions on the board, they are loose tiles, so you can kind of mix them up each game, and different regions are going to become more lucrative, and it's always going to have that kind of different feel to it. There is a good amount of like cadence in the game as well, because as the game develops round to round, you're going to get more family members into your hand. You can invest in these additional helpers in the game as well, because there's an additional round where everybody blind bids on taking these bonus cards, such as the mayor, which lets you it pretty much acts as a dummy family member, so you can get loads of rewards that way. Or you can just place like an influence or an area control token down on a region of your choice. So there's actually quite a lot going on in this one for a relatively simple game. One of the things that really did kind of I was a bit apprehensive of in this one is not only because of the theme, you'd expect there's quite a lot of take that in this game, and there is. But I think because of that theme, it was fully expected, and you have to expect that you're going to have your miniatures taken off the board quite frequently, and things aren't always going to go as planned. But because of the way that the goods are collected, you can see people accumulating their guns and stuff, and if you see somebody's particularly collecting a lot of guns, you're going to expect a hit fairly soon. So you've got to be fully aware that you've got every possibility of having your models removed from the board at any time. And I didn't mind it as well quite so much, as because they're not doing it for the sake of it. They are doing it because they want the control of those regions, and they want the money from completing the job. So it's not like it's take that for the sake of it, or just because they can. It's because they actually do want the money from it, and they do want to control those regions. So again, not take that for the sake of it, which is very, very important. So yeah, overall the game had a very nice flow to it. Just placing those workers down, getting more and more as the game goes on. More businesses are placed down, fighting over those different regions, killing other models off, trying to complete missions, keeping your hand nice and tight so that you don't have to waste cards at the end of the game or end up in the round. The bidding mechanisms on the different bonuses is nice. So yeah, there's enough going on in this one to keep it interesting, and the decisions as well are actually really decent, because as I said, the lucrativeness of certain spots is really there, and you do want to get there first. So, do you take the first player marker this turn? Do you just focus on getting money this turn? Do you want to collect those different resources to collect a job that you need? Are you going to get to that job spot so you can get new job cards? So yeah, lots going on. What regions do you want to control? Are you trying to keep control of your own regions, or do you want to attack other people's regions? So yeah, really, really nice, and lots of going on for a relatively streamlined game. The balance of the game as well seems pretty good. There's nothing really that caught me off guard, or anything I thought was completely unfair. I think everything was fully warranted. The opaque scoring mechanism is quite interesting as well, because you never really know how the other people are doing, but they do have to declare when they are banking their money to put them into their briefcases. So you probably have a bit of a memory aspect to it as well, where you're trying to remember what other players are doing and how much money they've got. And then if anybody's particularly running away with the game, you can maybe play some of those nasty cards on them. Time investment in the game I think was just right. It's 4 relatively straightforward rounds. It takes about an hour and a half on the dot to play, which I think is just about right for this one. And uptime as well. While it's not so bad, and you're generally always engaged because you want to have those majorities and stuff. Sometimes you can run out of turns a lot quicker than other players, and you're waiting for quite a long time until they kind of mop up all their spare actions that you don't have anymore. Replayability wise is pretty decent. As I said, you've got the different variability on the different businesses and the different setups and stuff. You've got different jobs that are going to come out, although there's not a huge variation in them. But yeah, there's a good amount of replayability here. And player interaction as well. If you're fully expecting that, head to head, eliminating other players from the regions, and you do want that kind of confrontational edge to the game. This one does have that, but without just being spiteful for the sake of it, which is quite nice. Aesthetically, I like the way the game looks. It's quite evocative of the theme. The map of the board is quite nice. It's quite clear what the different regions are, and it's quite a clean design. The artwork is fine, but nothing to rave about. And the different cards and stuff, again, absolutely fine. And the component quality as well, is no complaints at all. The miniatures look really nice. They're nice and clear. I like the way the different worker types have different bases, so you know where they can go, so you don't get one confused for the other. So yeah, component-wise and production is really nice, and the insert as well to the box is top quality. And the theme of the game, I think, is excellent. I mean, I said I'm not the hugest fan of the Godfather theme games or the films, but I do remember liking them. But I do really like the gangster theme in general. I think it's quite interesting, and there's quite a lot of things you can do with it. And again, just the mechanisms of the game, and just killing people and chucking them in the river. All the different job titles have cool names, such like car bombing people, or like extorting businesses, and it's all very thematic how the way everything works. So I think overall this game actually did take me by quite a bit of surprise. I played with a great bunch of people, which did help a lot, and we had a really good time with it. And it's just another really solid area control game by Eric Lang. I don't think it's quite at the level of Blood Rage or Rising Sun, but it's not a million miles behind. And if you like that theme a lot more, or the Godfather theme, or the gangster theme, or you particularly like the films, then I think this one's going to appeal to you a lot more. It plays in a nice amount of time. The decisions are there. It's not just a mindless, IP game which you normally get. It's actually a really well-designed game by a great designer. And I do actually have a really good time with this one, despite this not normally being my, my standard cup of tea. Again, I had a really good time, which is all you can ask for a board game. And it's another great area control game by Eric Lang. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.